An old wooden ship slowly approaches the shores of the New World. On board, a man eagerly awaits landfall so he can be reunited with his wife, daughter, and grandchild. After a few false starts landing on the island, this morning he climbs into a landing vessel to make way to the colony. He had seen smoke plumes for a few days from the island, and when he stands on the sands of the beach, he finds fresh tracks. But nobody greets him. He and his crewmates had spent the night singing loudly to draw the attention of the colony, and only now does it really sink in that something is wrong. He can hear nothing but the wind as he walks up to the side of the colony, and as he enters the fortified gates of the settlement, he can't see a soul. As he makes his way inside, he finds a fence post with a single word carved into it: Croatoan. This week on Cheeky Tales, we delve into the unclear waters that are the story of the lost colony of Roanoke.
Oh, so it's Avatar. It's Pocahontas.
What?
You know how he always jokes that Avatar's Pocahontas?
Yeah, but what's that? What?
Well, now this is the story.
Pocahontas.
What's Roanoke got to do with Pocahontas?
Oh, I don't know. I just thought I'd lean into it.
Welcome to Cheeky Tales!
We're back.
He's back.
You did hit record on all the cameras, right?
Well, now's as good a time as any to check.
Wheel of Fortune, ladies
I'm
and gentlemen.
back!
He's back.
My boy.
We're turning into a Harry Potter podcast.
Yeah. Well, as I've always said, it's always fun recording the second episode
Yeah, nothing
because
to talk about.
we've got nothing to talk about.
Bree! Hello!
Hi, Bree.
You weren't here for the first episode. Tell us what you've seen.
Bree's back.
Bree's back. Yeah?
Cool.
Was it fun?
You want to say that into the microphone? Okay, so now we
That's
can hear
okay.
you. Awesome.
She said she was at a friend's.
Hi, Bree.
Now you can have Apollo biting you. Yeah, he bit us all last episode.
Not me.
Oh, well.
So, how about the first 2 weeks of the NFL, hey? Woo!
Man, I can't believe the Bucks won 2 games and then lost
Tampa
one.
Bay Buccaneers won all of their games.
Won all their games. Lost all their games.
Actually-
won 1 and or 2 games.
I don't need to do that for the Bengals. Man, I win 2. Come on!
Who day? Day garbage.
Man, I cannot believe Lamar Jackson is currently looking good as the best quarterback in fantasy right now.
Do we think that by the time this episode releases, Aaron Rodgers has 2 working Achilles?
No. He probably doesn't have 2 working Achilles now. One's probably robotic.
Yeah. That man has spent more time in rehab.
So, Aaron, it's been another 2 weeks. You want to give us another PC update?
Look, there's every chance that on the release date of this episode, I'm not using the new PC.
There's a high chance.
There's every chance.
Man.
I still have to boot the thing. There still might be issues.
And how many videos have I sent you of PCs booting for the first time that just catch on fire?
At least 6.
Every day I get one. I'm like, ooh, that one's going to Aaron.
It's going Aaron.
Yeah. Yeah. There's every chance. Look, I'm speaking from the past here, but it's a good chance I still haven't got that thing running.
On the other note, though, he's added another PC to collection this morning.
Yeah. This one's a micro PC. It's just for running The Sims.
He does want to build a micro tower.
Yeah, of course he wants to build a micro tower.
Yeah. Look, I've had enough. All right. I'll have had my fill once this new one is running. Okay. That's enough.
Let's move on to Game Boys.
Yeah.
Well, that is something I'm doing at the same time.
Yeah, even I've got a few in the works.
I got to stop paying him out. I did ask him to help me resolder the key battery in my car. So.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about this nonsense? I learnt this when he told me about it the other day. His key battery is soldered to the board of the key. Do you know why? Because it's in a sealed unit because it charges from the ignition. Yeah, you can just take the battery out and replace it.
That would be nice. I did get a quote from BMW. The quote was $400 for a new key.
It's so un-German. It's so un-German to design something so badly.
The least German thing ever.
Talk about over-engineered nonsense.
Would you say it was very British?
No, because this is a BMW Mini.
Mini.
What You know that. What are you doing?
It's BMW, but it's still British.
No, it's
No, it's not. That's
The
like saying
engine-
Royal Enfield's British.
The engine is a Tritec engine because it was designed by British, German,
where's the key from?
and Brazilian engineers.
Germany. This
I know.
this bit isn't going to fly with us, boy.
Yeah, it's not going to fly.
He's just happy he's able to latch on something that's not PC related.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
hard.
sure am. This makes 3 episodes in
Yeah.
a row we've talked about this crap.
You know what's not Australian
But no.
made? His PCs, because he hasn't made them yet.
It is very annoying that my key is a sealed unit, and to replace the battery, we're going to have to cut the plastic, resolder the battery, and potentially super glue it back together.
Yeah, how dumb. How dumb. What
So
you
dumb.
should do.
It's either that or $400 for a new key.
I preferred the black and gold Mini Coopers. Thank you very much. Chocky cups are better. And we're back.
Didn't cut nothing.
Didn't cut nothing.
Anyway,
not
what
like
do
the French. They cut a lot
Roanoke.
of things.
we watched a fascinating video in the intermittent
We did.
time.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
The history of
Why
how
is Paris a snail?
Yeah. Why is shaped like is it? Why is it shaped that way?
You could say it that way.
It was also the history of Paris.
Basically,
Well, how it was built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not its history per se.
But what do you guys know about Roanoke?
it's mentioned
Everything.
in the song.
It was, I think it's part of one of the American Horror Story seasons.
Yeah. It's
I think
also
the first one that Lady Gaga was in.
it's also still a place.
Yeah. It's a new island.
Yeah.
Well, it's a new name.
I have listened to another episode that covers this story. So,
Red Web.
Red Web, rest in peace, Red Web. No,
Mhm.
they're still going.
That's still going.
It's not under the Rooster Teeth banner.
BuzzFeed Unsolved. RIP.
So, yes,
those guys are still going.
I have heard this story before, but it'd be good to have my memory refreshed.
I haven't heard the story before.
Well, buckle up, buckaroo. Get ready to sail for a month and a half. England are at it again.
Let's just pretend that the memory of the information I have has just disappeared and you can tell me afresh. Much like the people of Roanoke.
Good one.
Thank you.
Good one. Longbow?
Yeah.
It flew true, though.
Mm.
England are at it again. So-
England.
Just based on the introduction,
Mm.
you should be able to work out that this is England doing what they did best. Colonization.
Let's get into some old boats.
Old wooden ships.
Wooden ships.
Colonization is
Yeah.
what I was going for. It starts with an Italian working for the French, though, as the area that would come to include Roanoke Island was first explored by Giovanni de Verrazzano in 1524.
What was the episode we did where old mate was selling plots of land to the settlement that didn't exist?
Oh,
It was my one.
yeah. Had a funny name. Fake country.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. You couldn't farm it. It was shit land.
Yeah. What was his name?
He had a hard name.
How
Sorry.
do we never remember
I don't
any
know.
episode
I'm
we've
sorry.
ever done when it's relevant?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just
What was
yeah.
his name? The con man. The greatest con
We've
man.
done so many con men.
We did two.
We've done
and they were just
two.
back to back.
There's been more than two.
unintentionally back to back. We did the guy who sold the Eiffel Tower twice. Again, a Paris episode. And your dude.
Yeah.
And Dan Sickles.
And
Yeah.
So then we've done 3.
and then Timothy, the savant,
He wasn't a
Oh.
con man. He was just an idiot.
yeah, but he basically
Idiot
was a
savant.
yeah.
No, because he wasn't intending to be that. He was just dumb.
And
Anyway,
lucky.
Soft 4.
We'll give you a soft 4.
It's a soft 4.
It's a hard 3, but soft 4.
what would come to be known today as the Outer Banks, a series of islands off the coast of North Carolina,
Carolina.
would be explored and misinterpreted as a quick way to get to China.
What's that?
That was a riff on the OC's theme song. It was like,
And that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was, but I'm like, that didn't sound right.
Here we go. Yeah.
Good
So-
show.
Good show.
Watch that with my missus.
Good.
You know a TV show I want to watch again? Randomly?
Hmm?
House. I want to watch
Is that
House
because
again.
it's being slammed down your throat by Netflix every time you open it at the moment?
Oh, no, it's getting slammed down my throat by my Instagram reels for some
Right.
reason.
he
I'm
says
watching-
Instagram Reels like he doesn't use TikTok.
Yeah, it's TikTok.
I'm watching
Can't say TikTok. It's Chinese working on a defense base.
I'm watching Lucifer and the Rookie.
Cut that. What?
Yeah, cut that.
Yeah, we're going back through the Rookie now. I just went through the latest season. Oh, sorry, I went back through Rick and Morty, and I am currently going
Oh,
through
I do want to
the
watch that again. I've
latest season of Archer.
Oh, not Archer.
I went through and watched a couple of episodes from like season 4 and 5 of Rick and Morty. Some like the good episodes. I went and watched the Voltron episode again. Yeah, it was a good episode.
I swear there was like 5 years there where every second conversation I was like, oh my God, do you watch Archer? You would totally like Archer. It was actually in my Instagram bio for a substantial period of time. It said coffee fanatic, and no, I don't watch Archer.
I don't watch Archer.
I first watched Archer when I was apocalyptically drunk one night.
Of course.
And I didn't think, I remember thinking this show was hilarious. Didn't think about, like, couldn't remember what it was called for like 4 years. And then someone introduced me to Archer. I went, oh my God, this is the show. And ever since I've loved it. Anyway.
Maybe I need to watch it.
You absolutely should.
Roanoke.
So back to Roanoke. So the Outer Banks, a series of islands off the coast of North Carolina, would
Who
be
said we had
explored
nothing to talk about in the second episode?
and
Seriously.
misinterpreted
Exactly.
as a quick way to get to China.
Yes.
So old mate Giovanni, he thought, oh, this is the way that we get across to China and we can get the Silk Road happening again.
So this was another one of the special passes to get to California quicker.
Well, China. They wanted to, so the Silk Road had fallen apart with the Turkish Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the Ottoman Empire. So they were like, how about we, instead of going that way, we go that way. And that's how they discovered America.
Hey, where were they going for the
The Oregon Trail.
Thank you, the Oregon Trail.
The Donner Party.
Yeah, they were going to California, weren't they?
Yeah, the other way.
So
It was like 300 years later.
yeah, but it's a continuation of that road, isn't it? Not really.
No, other way.
So Giovanni would report.
Carolina faces east.
Yeah, Carolina's on the East Coast.
Oh, California. Now I'm mixing
My
them up.
song
Like when you did.
confused him.
So
Orange County, Carolina.
Giovanni would report this back to the King of France and the King of England, both of whom would immediately forget about it and ignore requests to investigate it.
This sounds familiar.
54 years later, though, Queen Elizabeth I, not the recent one, would offer Sir Humphrey Gilbert the chance to explore and colonize the territory north of Spanish Florida. What?
Why did you have to clarify that?
Just in case.
There's only been 2.
Exactly.
And I don't think Queen Elizabeth II with her 70 years of reign was around in 1578.
That's right, but I just wanted to be absolutely sure. Sir Humphrey Gilbert would go on to explore the coast, eventually claiming the territory of St. John's in Newfoundland, Canada, damn it, in 1583, before he unceremoniously died, lost at sea on the way home. After his death, his charter of exploration and colonization would pass to his brother Adrian Gilbert and half-brother Sir Walter Raleigh. They would split the land at Newfoundland, with Raleigh gaining the rights to the area previously explored by our Italian mate, and he decided that he would push ahead with continuing exploration of the area. As part of the charter to Raleigh, stated he had to establish a colony by 1891. He would get to work on sending a fleet to stake his claim. So he got essentially this bloke in the river, in the ocean on the way back. North of Newfoundland, which is in Canada, went to this other bloke. So he was going to explore the Northwest Pass, and then our mate Raleigh got everything south. So basically all of the North American coastline.
Yep.
Or the US coastline as we know it today.
Yeah, when you say like Northwest, you're talking like Alaska, right? Towards
That's
Alaska.
the way they're trying to go.
Yeah. So the Northwest Passage was the idea of can we get over Canada and get into the Pacific and then
to Asia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which they did eventually do, but it was like the 1900s. Anyway, despite his need to organize a colony, it turns out that Raleigh was the Queen's special little boy. Not like that. She just thought he dressed well, had a strong wit and bold tongue. And so he wasn't allowed to leave London. So he had this charter to like explore the US,
but wasn't allowed to leave.
Not allowed to leave. He would need to put together a crew. And by April 1584...
Montage. Put together a crew. I watched that episode
Son
too.
of a bitch. I'm in.
That was one of the episodes I watched.
As soon as you giggled, I was like, yeah, that nailed it. And by April 1584, an expedition would begin to explore the area. This expedition would go well, eventually landing in the area of the Outer Banks in July. The native tribes would make contact quickly and prove to be friendly and helpful.
Oh, that's a change.
Yeah, very unusual for North American exploration.
I was waiting for the bad stuff to happen. But no,
We
friendly,
get there.
yeah.
We get there. When the expedition returned, they would bring with them 2 natives, a man named Wanchesi and another name called Manteo, who happened to be the son of the chieftain of Croatoan Island.
I saw that one, Sean.
Wanchese?
No, I was.
No, he was yawning.
It was a hidden,
Oh.
That's why you weren't corrected. He
it was a hidden
mid-yawn.
yawn. I went.
Queen Lizard would be happy to hear of the bountiful land and helpful locals and would proclaim the land Virginia.
I think he meant Queen Lizzie, but he said
He
Queen
said
Lizard.
lizard.
That's actually what's written in my script.
Queen-
I did that on
Queen
purpose.
lizard. How
Absolutely. You know what? Look at
dare
it. It's
you,
in there.
sir?
It's in there. I did it on purpose
You
in my
suck.
script.
Queen Lizard. People, the lizard
What's
people
Liz
are
short for? Elizabeth, not lizard.
Sure.
Anyway, she'd be happy to hear about the bountiful land and helpful locals and would proclaim the land Virginia and name Rayleigh Knight, Lord and Governor of Virginia. Even though he did nothing, he would immediately start to court investors for a new colony on the land.
He organised the crew. What do you mean he did nothing?
Okay, he's like, hey, go over there and look at that river.
He did this, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
I mean-
and then he just hung out in London
Yeah.
eating like Marmite.
Okay.
Well, that's like the only
No,
British
that's
food I can
fine.
think of. Yorkshire pudding. There you go.
Bangers in mash.
Bags of tea.
No, when did you drink coffee?
Yeah, you drink tea wrong.
This tea's real bitey.
Get stuck in your teeth.
You drink tea wrong. Like, it's not chewing gum.
What do you do with the string when
Yeah,
you
it's
finish
like-
with it?
Yeah, it's like
That's you'd use it for
yeah, it's
flossing.
tobacco, right?
Yeah, tobacco. Ting.
No sounds.
Have you
tour.
heard what
Hot
her,
tour?
she-
Yeah,
she's
have you
now
heard
got a
of-
podcast.
Yeah.
Do you know what the
Oh.
podcast is
Do you know,
called?
Sean, do you know what the podcast? Have a guess.
It's
What,
actually brilliant.
have a guess what the podcast is called.
Spit on that thing.
No.
It's actually good. John and I both loved it.
Is it a pun?
Yes.
Just tell him.
It's called Talk Tour.
Oh no, that's so
So good.
Oh,
So good.
Edit Sean. So good.
Oh no, don't edit me.
I'm going to make Sean say it's good.
I thought it was very
Oh.
clever.
That gave me syphilis. Oh, it's too late at night for this.
Okay. The first colony doesn't end well.
Oh,
When did they ever?
So, yeah, the Roanoke Colony wasn't exactly the first one in the area. After the return of the first expedition, Rayleigh would immediately plan a colony. What?
He's laughing at me yawning.
Oh,
It's not funny. It's not funny, guys. No cuss words.
you were looking at me. I must have hid mine way better than you did because I was yawning at the same time.
after the return of the first expedition, Rayleigh would immediately plan a colony of 69 people. Nice.
Nice.
With a crew of 600 to support the... I love that that's still a thing that we race to.
I got the hots. Aaron, I rubbed my eyes.
Oh, you got the hot sauce in your eyes, huh?
Oh, what did we eat earlier today?
What's this we? I ate one of them. Sean decided he was going to be a big tough man and get the habanero wings.
He's just really upset about what happened to the Roanoke people. It's the stories.
How do you still have wing sauce on your fingers?
I don't know. I washed my hands.
Wash your hands, you grub.
I washed my hands twice. You were there. The tap didn't work in the sink, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We tried to use this bathroom at Wing House and I'm like washing my hands and Sean's like, I can't get any water. Look at this. The thing's loose. And I looked down. I was like, yeah, because the pump's on the ground. There's just like cabling hanging out of the bottom of the sink.
Not
I
connected
believe
to
I said, well, this is shit. Not, oh, look, this is loose. I'm not a Disney character.
He
Like,
did grab the top of it and go, look at this. And like wiggle it around. Anyway.
get on with it. You suck.
There was a crew of 600 people to support the initial voyage and exploration, including Wanchese and Manteo.
Oh, the natives, yes.
Yeah, so they'd gone back to London and like learnt English. Manteo was like kind of cool with everyone. He got along with people. Wanchese was like, yeah, what are you people up to? Like, I'm pretty suspicious, eh? A fleet of ships would leave Plymouth in April of 1585.
Why is Werteshi a stoner?
I mean, mate, what's that? What's the thing the natives have?
Mushrooms?
No. What is it?
You're about to get it totally wrong, aren't you? You're about to say something.
You're the fact checker. Look
Yeah,
at
I know. I'm waiting for him to like pull something like Mexican out of his ass and call it peyote or something.
No, it's not peyote.
No, that's from GTA.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm not suggesting the natives were stoned.
Okay.
After a pretty standard voyage consisting of sinkings, attacks on and by the Spanish, and run-of-the-mill destruction by storms and shoals, they would settle on Roanoke Island in August of 1585. With the destruction of much of their supplies during the voyage, they would need to rely on the native population for support in the initial stages of the colony.
Mm-hmm.
They would do their best to immediately ruin the relationship, though, by accusing the native Aquascogok tribe of stealing a silver cup.
Oh, no. Not a silver cup.
The first thing that comes to mind is like, why would you assume it was stolen? You didn't just lose it. It's a cup.
The big deal. It's one cup.
Yeah. Well, when the tribe didn't give it back, even though they may have never had it, the English decided that they didn't want to appear weak and so would burn the tribe's town to the ground. Despite this little hiccup, they eventually made peace with the locals and agreed on some land they could use. Eventually, 107 men would stay at the colony, with the remaining returning to England or going to other settlements further south. Or just privateering. The 107 remaining men would go on to explore the area and infect the local population with smallpox and or influenza along the way.
It's bringing the joys of the New World to the locals.
Yeah. As they went along their way, they would start to heavily impact local populations, which in turn impacted their fall harvests, which would eventually come back around to bite the English later on. There were stories of like, there was this chieftain that got sick and he was like, hey, can you guys come pray for me? And the English were like, yeah, all right, cool. So they came along and prayed for him. And he was like, oh, great, I feel heaps better. And like actually got healthy. And he was like, how about you go spread this power of prayer with the other tribes? And so then the English were like, okay. And they went out to the other tribes and just got all them sick.
Oh, just made them sick.
Yeah. So like, hey, we've come to teach you how to heal. And then they all got smallpox. Through the winter, they would burn through their supplies and end up relying on the locals far too much. Relations between the two groups deteriorated to the point that the native tribes were teaming up to attack the English, and with their expected supplies and reinforcements not arriving when they expected, the English were left with no choice but to evacuate the island and return to England, taking Manteo with them again. The ordeal could almost be its own story, and I have absolutely skimmed over it here. It was like a pretty long period of like, they ended up in skirmishes with all these different tribes, and the tribes were like planning assaults on them, and they were like, let's get out of here.
Enough for the tribes to band together. I'm sure these tribes have been fighting with each other for many years, and then they've gone, hang on a minute.
Let's get those guys.
Yeah.
There was a lot of native justice laid out on the English here as well.
Mm-hmm.
As an aside, it was only days after the evacuation of Roanoke that the relief fleet arrived with a year's worth of supplies and 400 men. So if they'd just been a little bit more self-sufficient and a little bit less aggressive, the English probably would have been able to make this colony work. The relief fleet left 15 men on Roanoke to lay claim on to the island and then set off home. So they showed up and went, oh, there's no one here.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got told like, hey, yeah, it's probably not best that you be here right now. And they left.
But they left 15.
So they left 15 men because Rayleigh had given them instruction to lay claim.
Yeah.
And to do that, you had to have people there.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, minimum force possible. Stay here. We'll be back. So.
Like the Donner Party.
Well, yeah, except they weren't stuck in snow.
Or eating each other.
Just stuck in row.
Roanoke. That was pretty good. Good job. Yeah. Not forced. The lost colony before they were lost. So we finally get to the lost colony.
Mm-hmm.
Yet obviously at this stage, they weren't.
No, they found colony.
Well, they weren't found.
They were just
they
there.
were never lost.
Oh, they just
Can you find something you'd never lost?
They just put it there.
Yes.
That's philosophy. Rayleigh was still keen to settle the area and so would organise another attempt to colonise the area in 1587, which included our protagonist from the introduction, who I did not name, John White. his wife and pregnant daughter, as well as Manteo.
What a boring name.
John White. I know, right? Yeah. As well as Manteo, the native that seemed to really enjoy cross-Atlantic voyages.
That's right. Yeah, he back and forth all the time. He just loves the sea.
Yeah. By this point, he was like pretty cool with the English. So they were just like, yeah, come along if you want. The fleet of 3 ships would include roughly 115 people and would set sail on May 8th, 1587, making it to Croatoan Island on July 22nd of the same year. They had initially wanted to settle Croatoan, but decided instead to go to Roanoke to meet the 15 men left by the previous fleet. When they made it to Roanoke, though, they found no trace of any men, except for the bones of a man they believed to have been killed by the natives. They would set up shop on the site of the former settlement and get down to the business of getting the place colonized. So yeah, essentially just after everyone left, the natives attacked the 15 men.
I mean, you could see that coming.
Yeah. They killed one and the rest of them just like scarpered up the river. Never heard from again. Another thing I haven't mentioned is that...
Still there today.
Probably. You got Roanoke Island,
Mhm.
and then like just to the south of it, about 50 miles away, I think, is Croatoan Island. They have different names now, but they were very close by. So yeah, they went to Croatoan, went, maybe not, up to
The modern
Roanoke.
day names are North and South Stradbroke Island.
No, one of them's called Hallister Island.
Mhm.
I don't know what Roanoke's called now. So they would use Manteo to attempt to re-establish relations with the Croatoan tribe, and after being told of the attacks on the former colonists by mainland tribes, attempted to barter a truce. When no response was given, they decided, fuck it, let's preemptively attack them and ruin any chance of a good relationship. So they went full America, just before they'd discovered oil. The tribes might have seen this coming, though, as they had already evacuated their village, and the Roanoke colonists instead accidentally killed Croatoan looters. Manteo had a lot of work to do smoothing that one over, and after successfully doing so, was baptized and made the Lord of the Roanoke and Dasamungaponke. So they were like, yeah, thanks for your help, buddy. You can be Christian now, and also you're a lord. During this time, John White's daughter Eleanor gave birth to a daughter, who would be the first child born to European parents in North America. Pretty interesting little side mission.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And then days later, another baby was born. Imagine how annoyed you'd be. Like, I'm sure they didn't think about it, but imagine how annoying. Like, you just pop out a kid 2 or 3 days after the other one. Your kid's not even remembered by history. The first one, their last name was Dare. There's like heaps of stuff called Dare in the US. You got
okay.
Dare County. You got, a whole bunch of stuff. Eventually, the colonists would decide that they wouldn't be able to rely on the native tribes again, and so John White was asked to sail back to England to source more food.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So he got convinced to go back to source more food, tools, and people. He would reluctantly leave on August 27th, 1587, leaving 115 men, women, and children on Roanoke Island. So 115 went. 115 went. Don't. It's so fucking annoying to cut out that noise in the middle of a podcast. 115 men, women, and children went over. 1 was killed. 2 were born. John White left. Stop. It is 11 o'clock.
I'm aware.
What White had intended as a short stopover, kind of like a pee break on a road trip, turned into a 3-year delay in returning to Roanoke. As it turned out, his timing couldn't have been worse, as when he arrived in England, the country was at war with Spain, and so all ships had been prohibited from leaving the country in order to be used in the war. White would have 2 false starts, once when he was given permission to leave until unfavourable winds stopped him long enough for the Queen to change her mind, and a second time when he got as far as Morocco before his ships were plundered of their supplies by the Spanish and he was forced to turn back. Eventually, in 1590, Rayleigh would arrange for White to have passage on some privateering ships to the Caribbean, 2 of which he would be allowed to borrow to duck up to Roanoke to relieve the colony. By August of 1590, White and his 2 ships had made it to Croatoan Island and were seeing plumes of smoke, but weren't seeing any colonists. Between August 15th and 17th, they investigated 3 different fires but found no signs of life. On the night of the 17th, they reached the island itself but decided not to go ashore until the morning. This was the night from the introduction where they loudly sung English songs to try and alert the colonists that they were there. They were on the boats, just like...
I don't think you said that in the introduction.
Didn't I?
No.
I must have edited that out. Well, they were singing English songs on the boat to like try and alert the colonists that they were there.
Just some football chants.
The 18th of August saw the party landing on the beach and finding fresh tracks, but with nobody coming to greet them. They would start towards the colony and find a tree with the letters CRO carved into them, and would eventually make it to the deserted colony where they would find a fence post with the word Croatoan carved into it. This would be the only evidence they would find, as all the houses had been dismantled and anything that could be carried was gone.
That's right. There was just one post with,
Yeah, one post with Croatoan. That was it.
That post is still there?
I don't think so, but there's a tree that's got something still written in it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There had been an agreement with the colony that they would leave a secret message with their destination should they need to abandon the site. And so White was convinced that they had moved to Croatoan Island and would attempt to sail there twice.
Not really a secret message when it just says
Croatoan.
Croatoan.
We there, bitch. As he was, both times that he attempted to sail to Croatoan, there was bad weather which damaged the ships, and he was forced to turn back. As he was on a privately owned ship that was being borrowed, he wasn't able to attempt a third time and had to leave to return to England, with a remaining ship promising to attempt to find the colony on Croatoan. Over the following years, a few missions were attempted to find the missing colony, with various expeditions stopping by the Roanoke and Croatoan Islands to search. To this day, no trace has been found of the missing colonists. There's been no mass graves, no historical record found to prove what happened to them. A true New World mystery for the ages. John White would return to England and move to Ireland, eventually dying in 1893, never knowing what happened to his wife, daughter, and granddaughter. So that was just 3 years later.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah, right. That he died.
Mm.
Yeah.
Time for some theories, I think.
Okay. Hit us with some theories.
So I just want to thank the guys at BuzzFeed Unsolved for their 2017 video on the Roanoke disappearance for some of these theories, as well as some of my own research, definitely on Wikipedia. Theory 1, native tribe murder.
Mm-hmm.
The first theory we'll dive into is that the local native tribes attacked and murdered all of the 115 colonists on the Roanoke site.
It tracks with history.
Yeah, everything that had happened so far.
Yep.
As we've already covered, there were some pretty serious tensions between the natives and the colonists, with the previous colony going hell for leather to cause a straight-up war, both physically and biologically. It's possible that the native tribes identified the weakened situation of the colony and decided to wipe them out. This is certainly possible, as there had already been a murder of colonists when natives shot George Howe with arrows in the first days of the colony's landing. The wrinkle in this theory is that there's no mass graves or any sign of a fight existing on the location of the Roanoke Colony, and there would be little reason for the natives to move the bodies to account for this. So, no record of any bodies there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just nothing that they can find.
Mm-hmm.
Theory 2, the colonists assimilated into the native population. So this theory centers around Manteo, who had cultivated good relationships with the English over his multiple trips home and his obvious Croatoan heritage. It's been speculated that with the lack of supplies the colonists faced, they had no option but to turn to the native tribes for help, and with the relationship between the Croatoan tribe and the natives, between the Croatoan tribe and the colonists the healthiest, there may have been a move there. This would be backed up by the message left on the tree, as well as the established plan to do so should anything happen. In 1888, there were also 54 natives who petitioned the US Congress for aid, citing their bloodline, including the surviving settlers. The Ethnological Bureau of the time concluded, it was thought that traces of white blood could be discovered among the Indians, some among them having grey eyes. It is probable that the greater number of the colonists were killed, but it was quite in keeping with Indian usages that a greater or less number, especially women and children, should have been made captive and subsequently incorporated into the tribe. In 2015, archaeologists found objects on Hatteras Island, which in 1857 was called Croatoan Island. And these objects were found to be broken English bowls, the hilt of an English sword, a slate writing tablet, and aglets, which were copper tubes which were used at the time to hold cotton fibres. These objects pointed to English people of the right social standing being present at the time. However, they were found among other objects that were dated to 100 years later in the late 1600s, which muddies the water on whether the colonists were there or not. Additionally, there are no other records that indicated the colonists being there, or any other objects that indicated the Roanoke colony had made it there at all. So they never found any personal belongings. There's no record that they were ever there, even in the native, historical information. Probably, in my opinion, the most likely of the theories.
I think I remember reading or seeing something that says that is the most likely thing that happened because of I remember the eye thing being a thing, like you said, grey eye or blue eyes were present, and something like that, which couldn't have naturally
occurred.
Yeah.
Theory 3. Maybe they just went somewhere else. This theory centers around a map that John White had developed during his time in the New World. His map was so accurate that it matches Google Earth satellite imagery of the area today. And while it displayed the obvious areas of Roanoke and Croatoan Islands, it also included a little secret.
Ooh.
There was a small patch on the map that was examined via X-ray spectroscopy in 2012, which revealed that the patch was covering a small blue star, which would indicate a fort. While the patch had been used to cover that, the patch itself also had markings that indicated there might be a faded star on top. While this may have just been a mistake that was covered, the presence of the faded star might be explained by the use of primitive invisible ink.
Ooh.
Made with either milk or lemon juice. The theory on the invisible ink is that the fort was meant to be secretive, and the map was to be returned to England and sent to the royal court, which of course contained Spanish spies.
Lemon juice. I thought lemon juice was meant to reveal invisible ink.
Heat reveals.
Yeah.
With lemon juice.
Heat reveals the lemon juice.
Yeah. So you put lemon juice on it
with a lemon juice
and then heat it.
And then heat it up.
Yeah. It's possible that the Roanoke colony moved to the fort in order to consolidate resources with the people there, and archaeological evidence at the site does indicate European presence at the site around the time in question, which were similar to the items found on Croatoan Island. However, there was no mention of the move at the Roanoke site, and John White didn't seem to believe they had gone inland. There is also no further record of the colonists or the fort, and so little evidence exists to indicate they survived there. So, who knows?
Yeah.
Another possible theory, in my opinion, but less likely because if it was a fort, then other people would see them there and write about the fact that the Roanoke colony had moved there.
Yeah, people living there. Wouldn't there have already been people at the fort?
You would think so.
Yeah.
Theory 4. Straight up aliens. Alien abduction. Yes, of course. That's a theory in this one.
Atlanteans got them.
Yep. They went into the sea.
Ocean, wasn't it?
Yeah. Atlantis isn't necessarily in the Atlantic Ocean.
No, it's not.
It's more than likely a Greek city.
Which is?
Not in the Atlantic.
Atlantis
But
is
what's the Greek Sea?
the Aegean
Sea.
Sea.
Don't give it to him.
He knows.
I was going to say Aegean again.
Aegean. You see?
Aegean,
See?
Aegean.
Sorry. I just assumed Atlantis was in the Atlantic Ocean.
Atlantis was theorized by Plato, and he made it up constantly.
He was a philosopher, so you can kind of take a grain of salt with everything he said.
Not only was he a philosopher, he was a philosopher that developed his own form of philosophy. So he was just making shit up, and then someone decided later,
maybe
this guy was onto something.
He knew.
He used his teacher as a character. He started out with actual tales of him, and then that just got more and more absurd.
Okay.
Socrates. Because Socrates didn't believe in writing anything down. He said if you wrote down philosophy, it was no longer philosophy, it was fact.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
He got killed, so you're aware.
Without any record of bodies, and with most items taken from the site, some speculate that aliens abducted all of the colonists on Roanoke Island.
Has anyone checked the island now? They haven't just reappeared
Yeah.
They're just walking around like that.
500 years later.
What's that show?
The 100.
Yeah. There is also a companion theory that the star hidden on the map by John White actually indicates a landing site for a UFO. And obviously, this was covered up to stop people thinking he was crazy. I guess there is no way to disprove this theory, so we have to go with our gut on that one.
Well, if there's no evidence to disprove it, must
Yeah,
be
prove it
whatever
wrong.
you left.
Prove it wrong.
Whatever you
Prove
left
it wrong.
with must be the truth.
Prove it wrong. Has to be that. Actually, it's probably theory 5, zombies. That's right. Aliens aren't the most outrageous theory on this one. The Zombie Research Society has posited that the island experienced a zombie outbreak.
The ZRS.
Yes, the ZRS,
Okay.
that very upstanding research organization, has posited that the island experienced a zombie outbreak, which resulted in all 115 colonists being killed one by one as zombies took over. Then, as it was an island, they ran out of humans to devour and so died off, leaving no trace of the people that had died.
Where'd they come from to begin with?
Don't worry about that. This would explain why no mass grave was found, and perhaps scavenger animals took the remains once the zombies expired. There is also a Harvard archaeologist who found evidence of cannibalism on the island.
That I can believe.
Though this might, in fact, just be regular old cannibalism caused
not
by
zombie
caused by a severe drought in the area at the time, resulting in food shortages. Whatever the reason for the disappearance, definitely zombies, the Roanoke Colony disappearance is a story that has endured hundreds of years of investigation without a conclusive theory being proven.
So, back to the Donner Party. That one bloke that they found at the end, he a zombie?
Well, no, because he stopped eating people, and he still had his brain.
But he ate people.
Yeah, that's just regular old cannibalism.
Okay.
With so much time between the event and now, it's probable that without the assistance of time travel, we will never know what happened to those 115 people on that little island.
Speaking of time travel, is there a Simpsons episode that covers it? Because that's where the truth will be.
I don't think there is,
I don't
actually.
think. No.
There's definitely a Pilgrim episode.
We'll have to look forward to it. Matt Groening's a time traveler.
Is he still doing The Simpsons? Or has he handed it off?
I think he handed it off.
Yeah, it would make sense if he had. Anyway, that is the Roanoke Colony. I think we can all agree that there's...
What did you say, 115?
115.
Up and vanished.
Well, plus the other 13 too.
Oh, yeah, that they left. Weren't they just killed?
One of them was killed. 2 of them were killed. So there's 15. 13.
Oh, and you said the other 13 just hoofed it up the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's that. What do you think?
I'd go with the assimilation.
Yeah, I'm going with assimilation.
I think that's the most likely. That or just straight up murdered.
Or both.
Yeah.
Like you said, half murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon they probably got attacked. They had no resources. They went, oh crap, let's just go to the Croatoans. And they took the time to carve it into a tree and do a stump, right? Like, they're there.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Do you think if it was just a full-out attack, there's no time to...
Yeah. So they obviously planned to leave.
Yeah.
They had enough time to
everything
carve
was
something.
taken.
They
Everything
took everything with them.
Yeah, they did say there was John White, his belongings had been buried in trunks and they'd been dug up and people had looted it. So people knew they were gone.
Yeah.
So when you said originally when they attacked the Croatoan village, they killed looters?
Yes.
Where did those looters come from?
They didn't attack the Croatoan village. They were attacking
Roanoke.
Oh, Roanoke.
No, they were attacking villages inland. So they were on the islands. They'd gone after the villages, the tribes inland who were trying to attack the previous
and that was
settlement.
the Croatoan people.
Croatoan people.
So the Croatoans had gone to loot those villages.
Right.
And they got killed. Yeah.
I'm with you now.
Assimilation is the most plausible theory for that one.
It's the one that makes sense, right? Like they had a plan to go there. They took the time to carve it into a fence post. But then the one for me is where they just did crow on the CRO on the tree. Well, why would you bother doing that?
Maybe they just ran out of room.
Why'd you choose the smallest tree?
Yeah. Now here's the question. You get one shot at time travel. Are you using it on this?
Nah.
Yeah.
So it's just going to remain a mystery.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter to John White because
He just died.
he died.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, how awful. Like he had to live the rest of his life without
Not knowing,
it was
yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that long. Still pretty awful though.
Still pretty awful.
Your wife, your child, and your granddaughter.
It wasn't
By
just,
the way, August.
It wasn't just the 3 years. It was the 3 years before that too that it took to actually try and
Yeah.
get back there. So
Yeah.
So you know how I said he landed on August 18th to go investigate where they were? That was his granddaughter's 3rd birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, where are they?
I got cake.
Yeah. I'll be here with presents.
3 years worth of presents.
I got you socks. That would have been sick back then, I'm sure. New socks.
Freshies.
Anyway, that wraps up that story. We didn't say it last time, but if you'd like to see some supplemental images, hit us up on @CheekyTalesPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what we're going to have for the last one, but we'll have something for this one.
What do you mean?
We're not having beheading photos.
We're not having beheading photos.
Obviously. Okay.
We'll have some Paris photos.
Cordon bleu.
Sacre bleu. Wait, if Sacre bleu is oh my god, is Cordon bleu something god?
Well, thank you for the episode, boy.
That's all right, boy.
I
Hope you enjoyed.
did enjoy it.
Hope the listeners
Just-
enjoyed.
It means holy blue, mate.
Oh. I mean, that makes sense because bleu. Holy blue.
That's what it
Oh
means.
my god, I'm going to start saying that. Holy blue.
Holy God is sacre bleu.
Wait, has everyone just been saying it wrong the whole time?
Yeah, probably.
Sacre bleu. I guarantee they've just been saying it wrong.
I thought it was sacre bleu.
So did I.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. Oh, my blue.
Yeah, that's what the people have been saying. Just,
Anyway.
oh, my bluey.
That's another bombshell to end on. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in a fortnight.
Yes, we will be.
Yes.
We're getting closer to Aaron's first special themed podcast.
Yeah, October. Halloween Fest.
I get the early October episode. Aaron gets the late October episode. So he's getting the spooky spectacular this year. 2 episodes time, people. Mark it in your calendars.
I'm already trying to weasel out of this. Because
Oh,
Okay, I'll dump in one of my episodes and then I'll throw it out completely and then you'll have to do it again.
no.
I got to weasel way out. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye.
I'm just going to get chickenpox again.